Radical Leftist Brain Rot.
Brain rot.
Abby Martin edition.
Do you think Israel's a terrorist organization? Israel needs to be held accountable and stopped immediately because it's the gravest crime against humanity that a state can commit. The gravest crime against humanity that a state can commit. Israel is, in fact, carrying out the mental bodily harm and carrying about conditions to destroy a group of people. I would absolutely constitute that as genocidal killing, and then Piers compound that with the fact that there's genocidal intent. Regular routine massacres that are happening of just desperate, starving Palestinians that are amassing to seek food. Is there anything that is more depraved than that?
That's 7 million pounds of food.
You can't just keep saying Hamas.
Gaza.
They've said since October the 7th through their official spokesman that they will do this again and again and again. That actually is genocidal rhetoric. If you're pledging to destroy a people in as many numbers as you can, as often as you can, that is a form of genocide, isn't it?
Look, what precipitated even the origin of Hamas? Hamas didn't just grow out of thin air. I mean, it was precipitated by
but what about my question, though?
Decades of brutal occupation and ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, but what about my question?
The question whether or not Hamas is genocidal in its intent, I disagree. And Emily's saying, look, Hamas is reacting. They're an armed resistance group trying to fight for their liberation.
Abby, do you
I'm
think
not
Hamas
justifying
is a terrorist
anything that they've done. The United States also called Nelson Mandela and the ANC a terrorist organization. I think they're an armed resistance group trying to fight for the liberation of Palestine.
Do you think they're a terrorist organization?
I'm not going to sit here and give an obligatory... Do you think Israel's a terrorist organization?
The gods when they get a flu shot.
Do you condemn Hamas for what they did on October the 7th?
I'm not going to sit here and give an obligatory condemnation of Hamas.
It was a terrorist attack of appalling magnitude.
Of what I think...
Surely on pure humanity grounds.
Piers, listen.
You cannot watch the devastating murder of 1,200 people and not say it was a despicable terror act and condemn the people who did it.
Look, listen, I'm not going to give an obligatory condemnation of Hamas. What I will do is condemn the policies that precipitate violence. What I will do is condemn the roots of the violence, because inevitably, you will have blowback when you deny millions of people basic human rights, when they're living under brutal medieval siege and barbaric military occupation, a fascist military occupation in the West Bank. Hamas doesn't govern the West Bank. Look at what Israel has done in the West Bank since October 7th.
You can't condemn Hamas for what they did on October the 7th.
This is not about Hamas.
Well, it's all about Hamas.
I condemn what will beget violence, inevitably.
What are you talking
I'm not
about?
going to sit here and condemn Hamas.
The entire war.
I'm sorry?
This entire war has been because of what Hamas did on October the 7th. You could go back in history.
Not.
You can go back in history
Piers.
and you can find arguments on both sides in the last 70 years. Right, I've had the arguments many times.
No, because
you cannot dispute
what you're doing is...
What am I doing?
What you're doing is conflating and pretending like there are two equal sides. Oh, they've just been fighting for decades. There's always reasons on both sides to start the violence. No, that's not true. There's one side that's an occupying, colonizing force that continuously and violently expels and subjugates and brutalizes and terrorizes the other side. They are living under the boot of Israeli authorities, whether you're in Gaza and occupied completely militarily by the outside, or whether you're living under a fascist military dictatorship in the West Bank.
So do you, if
that
you believe,
is the root of the violence.
Okay,
that is the root of the violence.
Let me ask
this
you
is 75 years of ethnic cleansing and apartheid.
All right, I hear you. Let me ask you this. If you believe then that Hamas are a armed resistance, as you put it, and they have, presumably then you believe what they did on October the 7th was justified, do you?
I didn't say that. No, absolutely
well,
not.
Wouldn't that be
I'm not sitting here justifying anything.
Isn't the logical extension of your argument, if you believe they're an armed resistance and they are doing what they're doing because they are responding to acts of terror by another side, surely you would say that what they did was justified. Or if it's not justified, what is it? You either condemn it or you think it's justified. I don't think you can sit in the middle, can you?
Look, I don't need to sit here and give a condemnation of Hamas. I can explain why Hamas exists. I don't have to I don't have to support what they did. I don't have to justify or rationalize it.
Yes, so violence in the face of rape
as a person who studies history. I already said the same thing about Hamas.
Hang on, Abby.
I already said the same thing about Hamas.
Emily, okay, Abby, what would you say Hamas have done wrong?
Again, I'm not going to sit up here. I don't even know really what happened.
You can't find anything.
How hard is it to condemn rape?
You can't find anything to say they did that was wrong?
All of the lies that have been perpetrated. Look, Hamas killing civilians, I'm sure atrocities were committed on both sides on October 7th. I'm
on
sure
October 7th, atrocities were committed.
I don't know,
what atrocities did
how
Israel
many
commit on
civilians
October 7th?
were killed by Israel. Emily, I can't even hear myself talk because you just can't stop talking.
Let Abby speak.
There's so many lies that were put out by Israeli authorities that it's really hard to parse through. Look, I mean, we don't know how many civilians were killed in the crossfire by Israeli soldiers enlisting the Hannibal Directive. So, look, the mass rape, the beheaded babies, the ripping the babies out of pregnant women's stomachs. I mean, all of these things are such egregious lies that I really just can't sit up here and condemn things that I don't even know what happened.
What about the atrocities which Hamas recorded and filmed themselves and then posted to the world to brazenly boast about what they were doing? What about that?
Sultan?
Look, nothing that Hamas did on October 7th compares to what Israel has done in response.
I'm asking you a direct question about the fact that they boasted about the mass murder they were committing.
You guys just make it all about October 7th, and that's what I'm saying. It all pales in comparison, Piers.
But if you can't condemn anything Hamas has done,
that happened, I already said.
You haven't condemned them.
Killing civilians is wrong.
So what
Killing
they did,
civilians is wrong.
So what Hamas did on October 7th was wrong.
So what does that make what Israel has done?
Hang on, I'm trying to unpick your argument. So if it's wrong to kill civilians, were Hamas wrong to do what they did on October the 7th, given how many civilians were brutally murdered?
Are you doing the same thing to Emily? And if not,
just asking,
why?
Do you think it was wrong?
Why are you not sitting her
Do you
and
think
picking
it was
apart,
wrong?
Is it wrong to kill 13,000
Why
children?
can't you answer a simple question?
Is it wrong to
condemn anything Hamas has done?
That happened, I already said.
You haven't condemned them.
Killing civilians is wrong.
So what
Killing
they did,
civilians is wrong.
So what Hamas did on October 7th was wrong.
What does that make what Israel has done?
Hang on, I'm trying to unpick your argument. So if it's wrong to kill civilians, were Hamas wrong to do what they did on October the 7th, given how many civilians were brutally murdered?
Are you doing the same thing to Emily? And if not,
just asking,
why?
Do you think it was wrong?
Why are you not sitting her
Do you
and
think
picking
it was
apart,
wrong?
Is it wrong to kill 13,000
Why
children?
can't you answer a
Is
simple
it wrong
question?
to kill
Actually, he did
100? I already said it. Piers.
Was it wrong?
I'm not going to sit here. You're basically comparing Hamas to Israel.
No, I'm not comparing anything.
And that's
You
really
said just now,
yes,
unless I'm mistaken, you just said to me that the killing of innocent civilians is wrong. I then asked you, fairly self-evidently, I think, the question, that in that case, given that Hamas showed us on tape them killing civilians, innocent civilians, on October the 7th, do you accept that was wrong? Yes or no?
You saw the tape?
Yeah, they showed us.
You saw the tape of them killing innocent civilians?
Yes, they literally broadcast it to the world. Yes, we all did.
And so do Israeli soldiers.
Fine,
in a
why can't you
fashion.
forget
it's
Israel
like
for
watching,
a moment?
It's like watching.
Forget Israel for a moment.
It's like watching Nazis.
If it's wrong to kill innocent civilians, Abby,
on social media.
If it's wrong to kill innocent civilians, I'll ask you one more time. You haven't got to answer. Up to you. But viewers are watching this and they know you haven't answered. You think it's wrong to kill innocent civilians?
I already answered. I think it's wrong to kill innocent civilians.
So what Hamas did was wrong?
She's not going to answer.
Well, let her answer if she wants to. Last time, I'm going to ask it. So.
I don't. I already told you I'm not going to sit here and condemn what Hamas did.
Right.
Radical leftist brain rot.
Brain rot.
Abby Martin edition.